I remember a day when I was a head of school and COVID hit. It just hit. And I was trying to make decisions on what to do. And literally people would say, well, what are we going to do? And I'd say, well, what I thought we were going to do an hour ago, now it's changed. Things were just changing daily and hourly even, for that matter, if you recall. And there was a moment in time where I was in my office and I was talking to the building mechanic, a very wonderful spiritual man. And he said, it just kind of feels like somebody's pulling some strings, like somebody is manipulating this situation. Like it just feels too controlled. And he was right. It did feel very controlled. Here, it felt like we're all being controlled by some sort of system or group of people, or something was clearly controlling the world. Almost like, I don't know, like the whole world was under control in that moment. But whose control were we under? Like, who manipulated that? Because I agreed. Clearly this is under some sort of control of something or somebody. And it just seemed too, I don't know, too obvious almost. And we continue to walk down that path as humans. There's some sort of control going on. And even in that moment when I was talking to my friend, I knew who was in control. And I realized in that moment, well, it's the horsemen. It's the horsemen of the apocalypse. It is literally angelic things manipulating the world. It was literally a manipulation of the world, like almost kind of like, all right, we're going to start moving down this path. Because even, as we go into these elections, God anoints the kings and he builds them up and he tears them down as he chooses specifically. David declares it. Daniel declares it. Other psalmists declare it. Moses declares it. Jesus declares it. It's clear. If you don't think, people really struggle with that. They really struggle with this concept that he's in control. Because, and I don't mean to get sidetracked, we'll go back to kind of who's really controlling this and why is it going the way it's going. But he is in control of the kings. And people say, well, so what? He anointed Hitler? Yeah, he did. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow. And he didn't tell Hitler to do what Hitler did. That was satanic devices doing that thing, trying to destroy the things of God. That's why they specifically went after the Jews, trying to literally destroy the things of God. It had nothing to do with the world, had to do with destroying the things of God. It was very satanic. And God allowed it to happen. And just in true God fashion, what the world chooses for evil, God uses for his good, which was Israel became a nation again. Just like he declared through Zechariah, just like he declared through Moses, just like he declared through Ezekiel, just like he declared through really almost every single prophet. I just read all the prophets. Almost every single one at some point said this is going to be an event that's going to happen. And God used the satanic wickedness of the world to advance the goodness of his kingdom, to advance the coming of his kingdom. He allowed the rise of Hitler to take place, and then he allowed the fall of it to take place, and it played right into his plan, just like he declared thousands of years ago. So, yes, he does anoint the kings, and it's all for his glory. He will even anoint the Antichrist. The Antichrist will be a God-anointed king, leader, president, whatever you want to call him. He's going to be an anointed, God is going to allow that to happen, even though it's clearly very satanic. He's going to allow it to happen to advance his kingdom, to advance his plan. We've read the plan. We've read the book. You can read how that plays out. Of course, he is in control. We're just dealing with principalities of wickedness here on this earth, and he's allowing some things to happen, and when the timing's right, he cuts that king down. If you read all of Kings and Chronicles, it's just there's this constant state of wicked kings rising and falling and good ones rising and falling, and then a wicked one rises and falls and a good one rises and falls. So I share all this because he is in control. Like, it is the horsemen. And here's how you know that the horsemen are in control. I believe it's Zechariah that saw the horsemen, and he was talking to the angels, and he's like, who are those? And he kind of describes them, and they call out to him and say, we're just really relaxing because all is good is in the earth. Like, we're just kind of hanging out among the myrtle trees, chilling because all is good in the world. Like, they're the ones who are controlling the situation. And you have to understand that where we'd like to go, oh, that was China, or that was some dark agency that caused COVID. God was in control of all of that, all of it. And he's in control of all of this. And it's really best as Christians, you just hang on for the ride. And regardless how scary or terrible it might look, realize he is in control. Like, he's controlling all of this. The horsemen of the apocalypse, and I hate calling them that because they've always been here. They're God's appointed workers on this earth to kind of manipulate the earth, the rise and fall of kingdoms specifically. As one of them, wars, rumors of wars, famines, pestilence, earthquakes. Like, they're the ones in charge of all that stuff. And they are kind of manipulating the earth in such a way that is all exactly how God told. They do exactly what God tells them to do is what they do at their appointed time. So when you see things, you're like, well, it feels like somebody's controlling this. Remember, humans are too stupid. Like, we're too stupid. We're following our own worldly desires, and we're following satanic devices. And that's it. I know some of us are following God, but if you're following God, you're going to recognize that when the Antichrist rises, that's part of his plan. Like you wouldn't go try to stop it. Like it's clearly part of his plan. Just like with David, he recognized that Saul was God's anointed. Like, even though Israel was being destroyed because of him, even though he was wanting to kill David and using all those resources to hunt him down and kill him, he knew, even though that was all terrible, he knew that's God's anointed. You can't mess with that. You can't mess with that. You just got to allow that to happen. That's what you got to do. You just got to take your hands off of it and allow it to happen. If you were a Christian. Now, if you're of this world or you have satanic devices, you're just trying to force things to happen. Let me make this happen, make that happen. Oh my God, I can't believe this evil king's going to rise. We got to bring him down. Like, God's in charge, man. He is in charge. He is in control of all of it. And we've entered it, everybody knows as soon as COVID hit, 2020, we entered this whole new season spiritually. I don't care whether you're atheist, Jew, Muslim, anti-theist, Christian, whatever you want to call it, devil worshiper. That we entered into a new season in 2020, and now we're in it, and we're trying to figure out, well, who's controlling all this? God, the horsemen, that sort of thing. That's who's controlling it, the Holy Spirit. It's important that we recognize that. Read the book. Good guys win at the end. It's a good story.